and welcome to Let's Talk Cruising. I'm Pete in the UK.
And I'm John in Minnesota.
Hi John, before we start, please guys, please subscribe to us. It's really important, so please subscribe, press that button and subscribe, yeah? John, this is actually a very serious subject to talk about. I met you on the transatlantic last year, and you obviously flew over from the States to the UK, and you flew over as a disabled traveller. And I wondered what your experiences were of the airports as a disabled traveller.
Well, and you know, I go through all the airports, flying and needing a wheelchair from one way to another. You know, I can get around short distances and everything, and there's levels of disability that the airlines will ask you about when you fly, and that's the critical thing is. The most disabled, of course, is someone that needs to be lifted into their airplane seat, lifted out of their airplane seat, and that's not what we're going to talk about today, Pete. For those,
Okay.
severely disabled people, those have to have arrangements made, from point A, bing, 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 all the way through to point D. We're not going to talk about those folks. We're talking about folks that need to get kind of like picked up on the outside of the airplane and taken to the next outside of the airplane. I just can't walk long distances. And so,
Okay, I mean, what I would like to know, John, would be your experience about specific airports and how you found it change from one airport to another.
you bet. And I'm going to tell you about the major hubs. When we're flying from America and we got to end up on a cruise ship over in Europe, there's basically, well, there's kind of like four because one of them is, of course, the big airport, Heathrow, that you guys have, and I have no experience with Heathrow as far as flying through it in a disabled status. The last time I've been through there, I was fully abled, and they of course
Okay.
did me well. Love the place, but I don't have any experience with that. But since my disability, I've done a lot of flying through Amsterdam and through Frankfurt and through Paris and a little bit through Munich and through Belgium. So those are the ones that I want to mostly talk to you about. And of course, Amsterdam, Paris, and Frankfurt are the big ones that folks are going to be coming through. And so those are the ones that we'll kind of hit on the most. By the way, Belgium, excellent. It's rather small. It's a very nice and friendly place. You will get very well taken care of. Munich also, they will do an excellent job if you should happen to do this. In order of the three that we're going to talk about, the big three, Frankfurt absolutely tops. The best, whatever adjective you want to put on it, luxury, first class, whatever you want to put on it, the best.
What
Amst-
made it the best, John? What experience made it the best for you?
just the way they go out of your way to take care of you, the way they're with you every moment, the way they have everything planned out for you in advance when you arrive, the way they just have it ready to go. Sometimes in Frankfurt, if the flight is close, I have not even entered the terminal. You go to the front of the plane, and instead of going to the left to go into the tube to go into the airport, they will take you to the right. Because I'm walking now. Remember, I can walk a little bit, as most of the people that need a wheelchair help are. And you go to the front of the plane, and you get in a wheelchair there, and they roll you off into, those trucks that go up and down that they deliver the food to the airplane in. They've got those that have seats in them for those people that can walk with crutches and things, and also have a place for the wheelchairs to sit. They wheel you into that, and there's usually 2 or 3, 4 of us on an airplane at any of the international flights. They gather everybody together. They back the truck up a little bit, and of course there's a door that comes across. They take it down to the ground level, and depending on how far they're going, they might just roll the plane. But you're going behind the terminal, behind the airplanes, and they take you to another plane. They lift the box up and roll you onto the next plane.
I see. So basically, you're using Frankfurt as a stop off to go to
Right,
another airport from
because you
Frankfurt.
just never. It's seldom that you can fly direct. Barcelona is one of the few cities you can go New York, Barcelona, but we're going to talk about that and how that you almost don't even want that to happen because as a disabled person, you want to avoid New York JFK with a passion The last time that I flew the reverse, or did the reverse cruise that we were on together, when I went Florida to Barcelona, we hopped on a jet from Barcelona to New York, and then I was going New York down to Florida where my car was. I had a 4-hour layover in New York. And do you know that we hardly made it to the plane?
Wow.
Hardly made it in 4 hours.
What went wrong? Why did you not make? Why did you almost not make it to the plane? What went wrong, John?
Well, we had to go from one terminal to another, and in order to do that, we had to go outside. And although the gentleman that was taking care of me was a big, looked like an NFL former football player, and he was very, and again, very nice. Don't misunderstand. I'm not telling you that the people aren't nice. I will not even tell you that when I rate Paris as the bottom choice, it's not that the people aren't nice. You know, we joke often in America that, you know, oh, those French people, you know, they're not very nice. That's not true at all. That's a Saturday Night Live skit.
John, I'm really glad the American said that and not the Brit.
Oh, yeah. You know, we joke about that. Oh, those French people, you know. But that's a Saturday Night Live skit. That's not, nobody's ever not been nice to me. But you know what I think it is, Pete? You get what you expect. You know.
Okay, so Frankfurt gets a massive, great big tick. I mean, do you think disabled people really research that, or do you think it's purely a case of luck? They happen to get the cheapest flight, and that's where they're going to go to without taking any. You know, they don't even think about the facilities at the airport.
I don't think that they've talked about it. I've not found a website that tells you or gives you some insight into this is better, this is worse, or whatever.
Okay.
Amsterdam is okay. You're going to be inside, of course. You have to go through passport control in Amsterdam, but they seem to kind of hand you off in Amsterdam. You get picked up by somebody, they drop you, you're sitting and you're waiting, you're just not sure if you're going to get picked up again. There's kind of a lack of communication. In Paris, that's kind of the worst. And the way the terminal is in Paris, it's a geography problem in Paris. Paris is like 6 or 8 terminals. And you know, you kind of like, it's like 6 or 8 airports really. You land in one airport and you go outside, you're just completely separated, and you got to go in to the next airport. You go through customs and immigration and everything all over again. And that's the downside to it. And you kind of get handed off there. That's been my experience, that you're kind of handed off from one team to another, and the next team didn't kind of really know. Almost I'm directing them. Oh, I have to get to this flight. I have to be at this gate. There just seemed to be a disconnect. In Frankfurt, Mr. Reitmeyer, we welcome you to our city. My name is so-and-so. If I don't see you to your next gate, I will make sure that the person that I am giving you to knows everything there is to know about you. Before we get started, do you need to use a bathroom? You know.
Yes, that's an important question.
All of these things are really important, and along the way, do you need to stop off for anything? Do you need to buy something? They're just there for you in a way that if I was running the show, it's how I would want to train my people to interact with my clients that were on the way from.
So yeah, Frankfurt, you felt at ease, you felt relaxed.
Yep.
Did you find yourself feeling really stressed at Paris when you went to Paris? Did it stress you out?
Yeah, a little bit. I guess not as much, because you know I'm an old hack at this, and it's like, in worst case scenario, I can fend for myself. It's a marginal thing for me that if given enough time, I can get to where I need to go. I'm not lost or stranded in the circumstance. You saw me on the boat. I can get around, you know, I can do what I need to do. But I do sit there and notice that I'm worried about I would be more worried about other people. I would be worried if I was sending my grandma through some of the airports. Alone.
Wow.
I'd be concerned.
So it's really important that if you do have a disability and you are going to go on a cruise and you need to fly to Europe to catch your cruise, it's really important you research this. You've researched the airports to work out which is the best one.
Well,
And as you're saying at the moment, you're finding Frankfurt. When you actually flew to Frankfurt, where did you fly on to from Frankfurt, John?
well, Frankfurt to Barcelona is where I catch the Epic all the time. That's kind of
And how
my
did you
baby.
find Barcelona as the final port of call, as far as flying, how
Flying
they?
into Barcelona as a disabled person, they're very good. There's a little bit of a wait, but they will get you, and they get you down to the baggage, and you go through a couple of gates. They do hand you off 2 or 3 times, but the last person will take you to identify and get your bags, and they will get you pointed out, and it's very good. Coming into Barcelona, not as good. I would give them a B minus. When you're arriving, when the ship gets to Barcelona and you're coming home, I didn't feel. I felt abandoned somewhat. I had to really,
Did you feel a burden to, is that what you felt?
well, or
Did you feel like you were a
more
hassle to
ignored.
them?
I'd say ignored would be more of the thing. I just didn't feel that they were as interested. And I don't know if this is the culture of the different countries. That Germany's got a different attitude about it, or different.
Do you think that you're just not a high priority because there's not that many disabled travellers on a plane, although you obviously see some? Do you feel that these airports don't view you as a priority, and maybe budget cuts, they don't have the staff?
Well, of course,
for instance.
you do know that it's not the airplane. It's not like Lufthansa or Air Italia or Delta or whoever's. That's not who's taking care of you on the ground. It is always a company that's hired by the airport to provide the service. So it's not,
Okay.
and that's real funny that some people say, "Oh, I'm so disappointed with name a company, Lufthansa, for how they treated me on the ground." And it's like, no, 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 no. You can be a little mad at Lufthansa maybe for wanting to choose a different company, but they did not do this to you. This is
Okay, John.
not their
Well,
doing.
you've named and shamed Paris. Just pretend I'm French.
Yes.
Can
No,
you
no,
believe it,
no.
yeah?
I'm not.
Okay, and I was in charge of Paris
Yes.
airports. And you got an opportunity to talk to me
Yes.
and advise me. What would you advise that I change to make your life easier as a disabled traveller and make your experience at Paris airport a lot better, almost like Frankfurt? What can I do?
Tell me when you greet me that you are committed. It's the reassurance factor that you are committed, that you're going to get me to the plane on time, and in the process of doing that, can I get you to a bathroom and take a break? And it's the reassurance factor that I absolutely didn't feel that I got on 3 passages through Paris. And also, just, like you say, were they stressed? Were they overburdened? I don't think so. And by the way, I was flying in the front cabin. So if there is any bit of, giving the front more attention, then I'm worried, because then the back would have got less attention than I did.
Now, you obviously named and shamed Paris. Talking about the UK, some of the biggest complaints I've seen is people feel they get stuck on the plane, sometimes for over an hour, because there's not enough staff at airports. Sometimes they actually lose their wheelchairs. And the airport that could do a lot better, if you're travelling to the UK, by the way, is Manchester. Name and shame it, Manchester could do a lot better with their facilities and the way they look after disabled travellers.
It's okay. I'm sorry to hear that. And but maybe by talking about it, I'd love to meet with people. You know me, I can talk, and I would love to meet with people and share my experiences, or maybe send a team over to Frankfurt and say, "What are you guys doing that's really good here? Because we've heard it's great."
Another problem that seems to happen is that a lot of the disabled passengers, they don't want to complain. They feel it's not right to complain. So sometimes they get treated this way, but they kind of just take it on the chin. Do you feel that if they actually complained more and kicked up more fuss, they'd be treated better?
I guess I'm kind of like that too, though, Pete. I'd never complain in process, because I don't want to get wheeled off into off in a dead corner. And I say that jokingly. I don't think they'd ever do that. But certainly a well scripted letter to management doesn't hurt. But I don't think that anybody ever assertively dumps anybody or mistreats anybody. I think that It's just that, well, this is the level of service we give. We didn't know that we could maybe do a little better, or we should do a little better, or, you know, it's like the rooster that rolled an ostrich egg into the yard and says, now, ladies, I don't want to complain, but this is what they're doing over there, you know? I mean, so maybe we can just kind of encourage people that, you know, Frankfurt is doing it great, and other airports maybe could raise a little bit. And if you have a choice, if you're talking to your travel agent, you're saying, if there is a choice, and I'm telling you, for me, I'd pay $100 more. If it was a matter of flight A and flight B, and it was $100 difference, I would pay the $100 for knowing that I just know how I'm going to get taken care of in Frankfurt. And this is with a 6, 7, 8 times experience behind it. I have confidence in Frankfurt. I know how it's going to go.
Well, that's great, John. I mean, what I've learned today, as far as the disabled passengers are concerned, is one, research where you're flying to. If you can go to Frankfurt, do go to Frankfurt. If you're going to Paris, you know you're in trouble, basically, unless they get it all improved. And basically, if it's not right, stand up for yourself. That's a really bad phrase, isn't it? That's an outtake. Oh dear.
But the point is yes, to, you know, but
I'll start again,
but I think it's methodology more than any individual person, you know, doing something wrong. It's that that it's all perception and commitment. And let's hope that everybody just raises the quality in 2019. And as we go along, and folks, send us letters, send us messages. What's your experience? We want to hear from you. 6 months from now, we'd be happy to do another show and say, you know what? Joe says it's better here, it's better here, it's not so good here. We will report. We will tell people how it is out there when you're rolling through the terminals.
That's great. Okay, well, thank you for watching Let's Talk Cruising. Hopefully, we've given some good advice. Well, hopefully, John's given some good advice. If you're a disabled traveller, where to travel from. And please subscribe. We need your subscription. Thank you.